that, let's move on. We've got another management waiting to chat with us, and that's Matrimony.com, the company which owns Bharat Matrimony. Now, just a quick word about this company. About 98% of its revenues come in from matchmaking services under Bharat Matrimony. Only about 2% of its revenues comes in from marriage services, where they help conduct the entire marriage event. But this business is very small, 2% of its overall revenues, and is currently loss-making. Now, for the quarter gone by, the company reported a 5.8% year-on-year revenue growth. Margins, though, have come under pressure. Profits are up close to about 7%. Sushant Pai, the CFO of the company at Matrimony.com, is with us now on the show. Sushant, morning. This is Rima here. First, if you could give us a sense of how Q3, Q4 is going to pan out for you.
Thank you, Rima. Thank you for having me here and wishing all the viewers a very happy Diwali. Yeah, so firstly, let me talk a couple of minutes on the Q2 results itself. You know, Q2 traditionally is a seasonal quarter for us. And I think despite that, matchmaking billings, if you see, we had a 7.8% year-on-year growth, which we think is a reasonable growth for, given that it's a seasonal quarter. So the revenue also has grown approximately 6% plus on a revenue basis. So the way we see going forward for Q3 is also a bit of seasonal sort of a growth. So therefore we see matchmaking revenue to be in very similar levels as as what we achieved in Q2. So that is the outlook for the growth in the matchmaking business. And like you rightly said, we have another business called the marriage services business. There as well, Q3 is likely to pan out very similar to Q2 in terms of what we achieved for revenue. And the losses will also be in a very similar sort of a range as we achieved in Q2 for the marriage services business. On the profits, in Q2, if you look at the PAT margins, we did about 12.5 crores of PAT, which was up on a year-on-year basis as compared to the same quarter of last year. Just one, update is that, as you know, that we've been in an ongoing litigation with Google. So we have provided for the Google litigated service fee in our financials. So because of that, our profitability has taken a bit of a beating. And that same sort of a provision will continue in Q3 as well. So what we see for Q3 is a profitability, PAT, will be slightly lesser than what we achieved in Q3 of FY23. So Q3 we achieved about 11.6 crores, will be slightly lower than that. And another update is in Q3 of last year, we had a one-time gain of land sale, which we had a land and which we sold, and we made a profit of about 5.8 crores. And in the coming quarter, that will not be there. But despite that, we have said we'll only slightly decline as compared to Q3 of last year. So that's a little bit of an outlook on Q3 on both matchmaking, marriage services, as well as the profitability.
Sushant, so just to understand that Google Play litigation, for the benefit of our viewers. So every time a customer downloads Bharat Matrimony app from Google Play, you all had to pay a service fee to Google, and that's the amount that you are appealing against?
Yeah,
and
it's not for the... Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. And then if you could also tell us how much has been provided so far and how much do you need to provide on an ongoing basis in Q3, Q4? Will this continue till we hear, in terms of a verdict on this issue?
Yeah. So, what happens is it's not when the customer downloads, it's when a customer makes a payment through the Google Play billing system. That's when we need to give a commission to Google. It's not on the download. It's only when the customer pays. So that's what we are, having this litigation with Google. So I think this is going to be a long drawn sort of a case. It's right now with the High Court of Madras. We've also, appealed to the CCI on another ground in terms of Google having discriminatory practices against us. So that will also take its own time. But however, in light of prudence, we have to provide something in the financials. Because it is under litigation and it is sensitive, we don't want to provide, disclose exact numbers. But broadly, I can say that if not for the service fee, our profitability would have been at least 300 basis points higher in terms of PAT margins as concerned.
Mr. Pai, hi. Good morning and season's greetings to you. Speaking of profitability, I just wanted to come to the EBITDA margins as well, which have compressed quite a bit. I mean, from a level of about 24% in the first quarter, you're down to about 21%. I think one of the attributes that Reema was also telling us about earlier was that ad spends have been picking up. You've been spending more on newer campaigns for Bharat Matrimony. Is that the only reason? And then what's the outlook on ad spends and overall margins as you go ahead?
Yeah. So, the Google service fee provision that I spoke about, entirely goes to the matchmaking business. So that's one of the key reasons why our profitability, EBITDA margins for the matchmaking business has come down to 21%. Otherwise, our ad spends has broadly been in a range. Obviously, this quarter two alone, we saw a little bit of an increase because we had launched new campaigns. If you see, one more thing that we did in this quarter is that we had a very refreshed and we relaunched the Bharat Matrimony app and the website platform, which had a very new user interface and functionality. And one interesting thing that we also launched along with it is the interest-based matching feature based on lifestyle and hobbies, which we believe that is an important facet when you want to find a life partner. I think all this contributed a little bit of extra expenses in terms of the marketing front. But as we go along for quarter three, we believe it will be in a particular range. It may come down a bit to about 45 crores. Overall, last quarter was about 47 crores. We believe it may come down to about 45 crores. But I think the major thing that is driving down the profitability, like I discussed, is the Google service fee, which entirely goes into matchmaking.
Okay, understood that. Just one final question, Mr. Pai, because, you have mentioned earlier as well that you are expecting double-digit growth for the full year. In H1, you did around 6%. Q4 is seasonally, a stronger quarter for you as well. Are you on track for that 10%?
Yeah, so, there are a lot of dynamics in this business. There's very intense competition, and we are the only listed company. The other competitors are doing various things. Some are providing certain things free. So we are in a very competitive market. So we are doing all sorts of initiatives like we discussed. Jodi was one initiative last year, a couple of years back. This whole relaunch of Bharat Matrimony, which we believe will add value to our customers. So we are doing a lot of initiatives to make sure that we slowly get to the double digit. But there are some challenges, like I just mentioned. So we are on that journey. Like you said, we are in that range of 6 to 7% plus. We'll have to see how it goes. But right now, since quarter three is also looking in that sort of a range, I think once quarter three completes and we see how it goes, we'll know more about quarter four. But yes, our aspiration is to achieve double digit, and we are on that path.
Okay, all right. We will leave it on that note. Thank you very much for joining in, Mr. Pai. Good chatting with you today, and I wish you a good season of festivities. We'll take a break on that note. Come up on the other side. We'll talk fundamentals. We'll have Vikas Khemani joining in.